Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Let's be honest, this was not a very good episode of WWE Raw, and it's a shame because WrestleMania is almost breathing down our neck at the moment. Some parts of the show were honestly a chore to sit through. It's probably hard to build a show when the central characters don't show up. I mean, there was no Batista, and neither was there a Brock Lesnar, even though both men are featured attractions at WrestleMania. This is the reason why fans have been pushing for full-timers to fill up the card at WrestleMania over the years. And this is the reason why Ryu just felt like a filler episode designed to kill time. Let me ask all of you a question, okay? Had you missed this show, would you have missed anything with regard to the WrestleMania build? I honestly do not think so. When the match was first announced, everyone was excited to see Triple H versus Batista. But over the weeks, as Batista spat into his microphone and quoted the Spice Girls, the excitement for the contest just seemed to die. Triple H breathed some life into the feud this week with a special stipulation. He put his career on the line. I really feel like this is the saving grace of a match that literally nobody in the WWE universe was excited about until now. But because there's the element of uncertainty around Triple H's future after WrestleMania, it is now a match with stakes. A match that we need to watch at all costs. So Triple H is almost certain to win the contest at WrestleMania. I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. After all, Ric Flair is his personal hero. What is WWE even doing with Braun Strowman after building him up so well as a believable monster? Why are his WrestleMania moments confined to teaming up with kids and wrestling with guys from Saturday Night Live, and not something a little more substantial, I wonder? I cringed hard when I saw Braun Strowman in the middle of the ring with Alexa Bliss, who also put on a brave face as they addressed the two gentlemen from Saturday Night Live, and the crowd booed throughout. I wonder why WWE goes after these mainstream celebrities when they're likely not bringing in any new eyeballs to the product at all. The segment was a disaster from the word go, and now it has been established that with these two men in it, the Ender the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is equally as meaningless. Just book Strowman as a monster WWE. Earlier during the show, Roman Reigns accepted Drew McIntyre's challenge for a big WrestleMania match. McIntyre met Ambrose in the backstage area, and a last man standing match was set up between the two men. As one would expect, the two men gave it their all, and then some to entertain their fans wholeheartedly. Drew McIntyre continued his reign of dominance by picking up an impressive victory over Dean Ambrose. It is quite obvious right now that he will be the center of attention as we head to WrestleMania 35 and beyond. Who knows? WWE may even book him to win the big one at WrestleMania. Ambrose seems like he's a lot more at home in a hardcore-style environment than he was as a normal sports entertainer. It's a shame that his run will be coming to such an untimely end when his story's not been completely told. Not long ago, Samoa Joe became the U.S. champion of the world. Everyone rejoiced and called it a change in fortune for the talented man who should have been a multi-time champion by now. I expressed my concerns and said that one needs to wait and watch at how long he manages to cling to the top of the mountain. So I get the basic idea of doing the classic TNA rematch and having Kurt Angle take on Samoa Joe as part of his retirement tour. I suppose that Samoa Joe would not have minded jobbing to the living legend either. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if he requested for the match as a little tribute. I just don't like the idea of seeing the champion pinned in a meaningless match, especially a champ who just got pinned by Rey Mysterio as well, not long ago. I know that I may get some hate for this, but I really thought that Sasha Banks and Natalya had a pretty good match for the duration that it lasted. Both of these women may be the two most underrated workers in the company, and they showed their chemistry as they traded holds during the said contest. Tamina Snuka and Nia Jax would bring this contest to an untimely end with their interference that the crowd did not really seem to care for all that much. Beth Phoenix would get involved in the fracas, and all hell seems to have broken loose in the WWE Women's Tag Team division now. What I especially liked about this segment is Beth Phoenix showing us that she can still hang with everyone else. There's no sign of ring rust. The Glamazon is such a legend, isn't she? What is similar between the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the Greatest Royal Rumble, the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania, and the Beat the Clock Challenge on this week's show? The winner may feel proud for the time being, but it doesn't mean much over the long haul. I wish that the match had been made with some stakes in mind to make the contest a little more watchable. Unfortunately, it was just a throwaway segment with no real stakes or any rewards for the winner. If WWE does not care enough to tell us a story for the match, why should we care about watching the contest unfold on our television screens? I don't think anyone was really invested in the contest that kicked off Raw this week. It was more of a watch the clock challenge to see when the segment ends. It is impossible to build a Universal Championship match when the champion is not present. I thought that Paul Heyman was a chore to listen to, and so was Rollins. In fact, the only thing I liked about the whole segment was the visual of Rollins chasing Heyman up the ramp. I thought that it was a pretty unique twist. I also liked Kurt Angle leading the "You Suck" chants when he came out, directing them at Paul Heyman. They were both good for a chuckle and little more. The Universal Championship match feels smaller than ever. So let's say some thoughts and prayers for WrestleMania and the unfortunate build that we've all been subjected to. I really hope that the go-home show is interesting, because if not, will people even tune in for WWE's biggest show this year? Maybe all thoughts and prayers need to be directed to a goddess, really. Was this article helpful? There is no doubt in my mind. Former WWE superstar slams Raw on Netflix here. Monday Night Raw is the flagship show of World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, a spectacle that has given fans some of the most memorable moments in wrestling history. However, Raw has had its highs and lows over the years, with unforgettable matches and unfortunate missteps. Superstars like Brock Lesnar and Batista have dominated headlines and the main event scene. But this time, let's explore Raw in a world without these megastars and evaluate what worked and what didn't in their absence. Without Brock Lesnar's Suplex City dominance or Batista's animal intensity, Raw still managed to shine in several moments, but also stumbled in others. Here's a breakdown of the best and worst moments on WWE Raw, excluding Lesnar and Batista, and why WWE's reliance on them might be more of a limitation than a necessity. The best of WWE Raw without Lesnar and Batista. 1. Seth Rollins embracing the spotlight. Without Lesnar looming over the WWE Universal Championship scene, Seth Rollins has been given ample time to remind fans why he's one of the best in-ring performers on the planet. Rollins, known as the Architect, has carried Raw on his back at various points in his career, and in the absence of Brock and Batista, he's had to step up his game even more. Whether he's in a storyline with someone like Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, or fighting up-and-comers like Ricochet, Seth Rollins continues to prove that he can main event any show. Rollins' character has evolved tremendously without the looming shadow of part-timers. From his time as the Monday Night Messiah to his current visionary persona, he's done what few in WWE have managed: consistently reinvent himself to stay relevant. Without the need to rely on star power like Lesnar's, Raw has given Rollins a steady position at the forefront, allowing him to build rivalries based on long-term storytelling rather than sporadic appearances from big names. 2. The rise of Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre's ascent to the top of WWE has been one of the most satisfying journeys in modern wrestling. After years of being sidelined as a mid-carder and even being released by WWE at one point, McIntyre returned in full force. His 2020 Royal Rumble win and subsequent WWE Championship victory at WrestleMania 36 felt earned and impactful, largely because there wasn't a part-time name like Lesnar or Batista overshadowing him. McIntyre brought a sense of legitimacy to his championship reign, and his work ethic was on full display every single week on Raw. His matches against the likes of Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, and even newer stars like Karrion Kross added depth to the show. McIntyre's Scottish warrior persona meshed well with Raw's need for a reliable top babyface, proving that the show could thrive without Brock Lesnar's brute force or Batista's Hollywood-caliber presence. 3. the women's division flourishing. One of the brightest spots on Raw in the absence of Lesnar and Batista is undoubtedly the women's division. Led by names like Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Asuka, and later Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, the women have consistently delivered show-stealing performances. Becky Lynch's rise to superstardom, in particular, was made even more significant because she didn't need to compete for screen time with part-time stars like Brock Lesnar. Charlotte Flair's dominance in the ring, Asuka's unique in-ring style, and Bianca Belair's infectious energy have given WWE fans reason to stay glued to their screens. The storylines in the women's division have been some of the most emotionally charged, and their matches, like Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley or Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, have been some of the best to grace Monday Night Raw. With no Brock or Batista to take up a big chunk of airtime, the women's division has truly come into its own. 4. Mid-card talent shining. With no Brock Lesnar or Batista to hog the main event spotlight, WWE has been forced to give more opportunities to its mid-card talent. Wrestlers like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Finn Balor have all benefited from this extra attention. Owens and Zayn, in particular, have proven that they can carry storylines without needing to be in the title picture, making fans care about their personal rivalries and battles of pride. Finn Balor's return to Raw after a successful stint in NXT brought a renewed sense of energy to the mid-card. His battles for the United States Championship or Intercontinental title became must-watch television, and without the need for constant Lesnar appearances, WWE could focus more on elevating these titles rather than treating them as afterthoughts. The worst of WWE Raw without Lesnar and Batista. 1. The lack of a monster heel. While the absence of Brock Lesnar has allowed other stars to shine, it's also left a significant gap in the roster. Raw lacks a true monster heel. Lesnar's sheer size, strength, and intensity make him an irreplaceable presence in the ring. And while stars like Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre have done their best to fill this role, they don't have the same unstoppable aura that Lesnar brings. Lesnar's sporadic appearances created a sense of anticipation and danger. You never knew when Suplex City would be unleashed. Without him, Raw has had to rely on less fearsome heels, and while someone like Roman Reigns as a heel on SmackDown has been stellar, Raw has struggled to find that same level of menace. Even someone like Bray Wyatt, with all his creative energy, lacks Lesnar's in-ring dominance. 2. Stale storylines and feuds. Another issue Raw has faced without Lesnar and Batista is the reliance on repetitive or drawn-out storylines. While the roster is packed with talent, some feuds have overstayed their welcome or felt unoriginal. For example, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, while delivering excellent matches, went on longer than necessary. Without a big name like Lesnar or Batista returning to shake things up, WWE Creative has sometimes resorted to dragging out feuds longer than they should. Raw thrives on unpredictability, and without the possibility of Lesnar showing up out of nowhere, some episodes have lacked that element of surprise. While long-term storytelling is valuable, WWE has occasionally relied too much on extending rivalries for the sake of filling airtime. 3. Over-reliance on part-time legends. Although Raw has been without Lesnar and Batista, it has still fallen into the trap of over-relying on part-time legends like Goldberg and The Undertaker. These returns, while nostalgic, often don't do much for the long-term product. Instead of building new stars or elevating mid-card talent, WWE sometimes brings back older stars for short bursts of attention. Without Brock Lesnar or Batista, WWE has been tempted to use other legends as band-aids to fix the ratings problem. However, as iconic as these legends are, their presence can feel like a step backward for the show's younger talent who need the exposure. Conclusion. While WWE Raw has flourished in some areas without Brock Lesnar and Batista, it has also struggled in others. Stars like Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and the women's division have thrived in the absence of part-timers, creating fresh rivalries and compelling matches that don't rely on megastars. However, Raw's lack of a true monster heel and its over-reliance on part-time legends remain issues. Ultimately, WWE must strike a balance. While names like Lesnar and Batista undoubtedly bring attention and legitimacy, the future of Raw lies in its ability to build new stars and fresh storylines. The best of WWE Raw can shine without the Beast and the Animal, but it requires thoughtful creative direction and commitment to developing talent for the long haul.